All right, let's get started. For those of you who just joined, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to participate in this overview session where we will be taking a look at the new MyFFTC portal. So, this session is specifically for our nonprofit fund holders. If you are a personal or corporate fund holder, there will be another session at 3:30 that may be a little bit more relevant, but of course, you're welcome to stay and learn about all of the great new nonprofit features we have too. So, we'll take a little time to start with some introductions before we dive directly into the content, and then we will do kind of a tour of the new portal as well. But just for a little housekeeping, this session will be recorded. So, we will have all of these slides at your fingertips and available because, who wouldn't want to watch this over and over again, but also posted to our FAQs website about the new portal. You'll notice that as the webinar exists, your camera and your microphone are turned off. So as you have questions or comments, please use the Q&A box to submit those. You should have the toolbar at the bottom of your Zoom screen where you will be able to enter your questions. We will likely be saving most of those towards the end of the session until after we've kind of gone through the tour of the new portal, but are really excited to hear what questions and comments and feedback you have regarding this new portal. So, my name is Jessie Herman. I am our Vice President of Nonprofit Services here at the Foundation, meaning I get to work with our nonprofit partners and fund holders, mostly for fund management, which is very much what we'll be focused on today, but also a little bit of our capacity building work. So, really excited to share these new enhancements with you and see how it can better serve your needs. And I will pass it to my colleague, Perrine.
Hi, everyone. My name is Perrine Yannicchioni. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Plan Giving for our personal and family philanthropy team here at FFTC. I'll be managing the Q&A throughout the webinar, so thanks so much for being here.
Hi, and I am Jennifer McClave. I am the Vice President and Director of Marketing and Innovation. I have been acting as the project manager for the portal implementation. And so my role in this webinar will be a little bit more at the end where I'm going to be doing a demonstration and walking through all of the functionality. But before we get started, I did want to do a quick little poll, and Perrine is going to help us with the poll just to find out how many of you have logged into the new portal. Hey,
Looks like we're at
I think we are.
about 80%, so get your any last stragglers you can answer, and then we'll publish the answers. Okay.
Right. So great. This looks like a pretty good mix. For those of you who have already logged in, we're really happy to take you on a more in-depth tour. For those who have not logged in, we are happy to demonstrate what it is and make you comfortable before you get in and maybe help you get in. And for the person who tried but couldn't get in, I'm very sorry. We can either help you with that today, or you can contact us afterwards and we can help walk you through how to get in. Sometimes there are really easy solutions to that, and we'll get you in as soon as possible. So today, the plan is to first talk a little bit about the enhancements as well as what's on the roadmap, because what we've already released and launched last week is just the start. There are going to be more improvements coming our way. We know that there are some things that you'd like to see, but also things that we think would be great for you to see that are going to be coming down the pike over the next 6 months or a year. We're going to quickly show you the login page and explain how to get in. Very quick snapshot of the dashboard, and then we'll bring it back to me and I will do a full demo and show you how to navigate the portal before we open it up for the questions at the end. So let me pass it off to Jesse, who is going to take us through the first session.
Great. Thanks so much, Jen. And I'll say we have 45 minutes budgeted for this webinar. I think our content portion of this will probably take 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll have the last half really saved for Q&A. So let's go ahead and bump forward one slide. So I want to take a moment also to talk about why we are here again with a new portal. So if you've been a fund holder with the foundation for the last 2-3 years, you've been through this process before, and we are grateful for your patience and also the feedback that you've provided in the past. We very much understood and heard that it was not the ideal user experience and not how we wanted our fund holders to be able to access their information in the prior iteration. So we've been working really hard to ensure that this will be a better experience and provide a better functionality for you. So some of the enhancements that you'll see in this version of the portal are going to be very simple. Kind of the biggest selling point of this new feature for us is really just how simple it is to navigate and see all of the different information for your fund. So on the left-hand side here, you'll see this is, just a screen grab from a fund's different distributions, some automated graphs that pop up of how those have looked month by month, and then, the listing of what those distributions history pieces have been. But this one-page dashboard, which, we're going to build anticipation a little, we'll show it to you in just a moment, but really allows it to be very clean, easy to see the entirety of the fund relationship and the different moving pieces of money in, money out of the fund. This version is also mobile friendly. So as you're out and about, need to check something on your phone, much easier to do on this version. You should have full functionality on the mobile version, so still able to recommend distributions, see your advisors, any fund administration piece you may need there. And then the screen grab on the far right, probably less relevant to our nonprofit fund holders, but this new portal also has the ability for you to make contributions directly from a credit debit card or Apple or Google Pay. You can absolutely still give from the old versions, if you're giving via ACH transfer, wire, mailing a check. And we always encourage you to make sure that you have the fund information when you are sending those contributions into a fund. You have the option to now do it through the digital things like credit card or Google Pay, noting that there is still a credit card fee like all transaction processors, so you may still opt to use the other methods. A few other enhancements. All right, we're really excited about this one. It is a quick one-page form in order to request a distribution. And it will also automatically default to your agency's name in that distribution to section. So instead of scrolling through, every FFTC approved nonprofit recipient, it will default directly to your organization. On this same page, you will be able to both recommend a distribution or create an interfund transfer. So if you have multiple funds with the foundation, you can send money between them, all done really simply just with these couple question boxes here. You'll submit, add to cart, go to your cart and check out, and the process will be done, all really cohesive where you can see all of the information at once. For recurring distributions, it's a different page, but just as simple to set up, whether you want your spendable distributed, annually, quarterly. If you don't have spendable, but want to set up, a recurring amount each period, certainly able to do so. And then one thing I want to note here, if you have previously had recurring distributions, they still exist. We have them all in our system. They are still scheduled to go out as always. Not all of them have been migrated into the new portal yet. So if you've got a recurring distribution, you don't see it, you're welcome to reach out to us to confirm that we have all of the information, but please know we do, and it's coming soon onto this new version here. All right, and we can move forward one. Great. In addition to other things coming soon, a lot of these are going to be for our nonprofit fund holders who have multiple funds. And that is something that we would call, a fund relationship or multiple funds within a fund grouping, which is the language you'll see here. But first off, the fund statements will have some increased functionality. So right now, those are the monthly fund statements published on the 15th of each month. In the portal, you will have the last 4 years of historic statements. And we will be able to extend some of those dates. You'll be able to pull annual instead of monthly, a couple new pieces that will be coming out both later this summer and in the fall. We'll also have some options for consolidated reporting. So if you have multiple funds with us and want to see the entire relationship, you'll be able to pull those reports as well. Same with cumulative totals on the dashboard if you want to see, all of the dollars that you have invested with the foundation. If you also have multiple funds, you'll notice that right now they are sorted alphabetically. We understand that that may not be the ideal way in which you would like the funds to present. So more information coming soon on how those will look in a future iteration, whether they'll be able to customize, sort ascending, descending, more to come there. And one thing we're also really excited about is specific content that we'll have for nonprofits. So on this dashboard, on the right-hand side, we will have these different content tiles. And this could look like anything from a recording of a session, maybe legislative updates for the nonprofit sector. This could be FAQs from FFTC's website. It could be one of our focus blog pieces, highlighting a nonprofit story. So some new opportunities there on how we'll be able to share information with our fund holders. So logging in, it sounds like some of you have already seen these pages. If you have myFFTC.org bookmarked, your bookmark should still work. It will auto direct to the new, hyperlink, which is also written out here. It's that daf.fftc.org. And if you are an agency fund holder within the Foundation for the Charlotte Jewish Community, the functionality is exactly the same. It's a different address. You'll be able to do the exact same things. The branding is just slightly different. So once you log in, you will put in your email address. If it's your first time logging in, you will reset the password, get your, code to the email, and then log in, change the password, and be able to access the account in the portal. One thing I got to stop saying we're excited about. One thing we're looking forward to is also that the multi-factor authentication will now be set for 120 days. So you will have 4 months before you were asked to reprompt and re-log in specifically with that dual factor authentication. All right. And now a look at the dashboard. Ooh. So on the left-hand side here, we have the toolbar. So Jen will go through in more detail on what each one of these means, but really this is where you'll be able to create a distribution, interfund transfer, see who the fund representatives are. Maybe you need to make some updates, pull historical statements, really all of the fund administration pieces. In the middle, this is where you'll see the dashboard. If you only have one fund, you'll just have the one tile. If you have multiple funds, this is where they will all appear to scroll down. Like I mentioned, that sort order will be coming soon. And from here, you'll be able to see all of the distributions, contributions, pull different reports. And starting next week, when the June fund statements come out on Wednesday, you will be able to click into the fund overview to have those monthly fund statements pre-populated for you to be able to pull, export, download, whatever you need there. And then on the right-hand side, this is what I mentioned with the nonprofit specific content. So, right now it's about statements, investment options. This will change as we move forward. And then something that we are looking forward to being able to roll out, again, doesn't exist quite yet for our personal and corporate fund holders, is being able to spotlight more nonprofit stories. So as we have new fund holders and old fund holders sharing their philanthropic interest, we're able to determine, the types of projects they may be interested in. This is kind of a philanthropic intake where we're ascertaining what they care about in the community. And then we may be able to share curated stories highlighting, nonprofit campaigns or a different blog post that's about animal welfare and 5 nonprofits under that area. So again, doesn't exist yet. I can't guarantee what it will look like in the future, but a new opportunity for us to be able to uplift community impact work, highlight nonprofits, and really share the good work. All right, and I think from here we will get deep into the overview, and Jen is going to guide us through each of these little tools. And Jen, you are muted.
I am on mute. Thank you. First, can you all see my screen? Yes, great. So I am going to walk you through logging in first and make sure I'm logging in to the right account. Okay. So when you log in, you will come to a dashboard that looks pretty much like this. One thing to note is on the left, if you fund holders who have donor advised funds or personal or corporate funds will see a slightly different menu on the left. Later on, we can discuss what to do if you happen to see the other menu on the left. Shouldn't really happen, but it has sometimes when people manage both and they manage an agency fund and they manage their own donor advised fund, they will see the menu that's not the one that you actually want. And it's easy for us to switch it over for you. But on the left, you will have action items. In the middle is more fund specific items. And then on the right are the articles, which we have starting off having them be pretty utilitarian, just helping you understand how to get around. I'm actually going to start with the articles because I think it'll be helpful. There's one on the front, welcome to your portal. And if you click in, you will get a page that has links to videos. These are videos telling you how to do different things in the portal, as well as a glossary of key terms. We thought that would be useful because some of the terminology is a little different than what we had in the past portal. We may continue to add in here if we get questions from you and other fund holders about what something means, we can add them in. There is also an article on the right, investment options, and this is where you can go to see some of there's the forms for changing your investments as well as just the performance reports. And let's go back to the home page. As you can see, I have two different funds here. And this will show you one of them probably is endowed and one of them is not. We have different, the spendable showing. Right now on the live portal, the spendable is not visible, but within the next week or so, it will be. So just know that that is coming as well. You can find it when you dig in deeper, but just on the snapshot. So if you go to the left, the first section is where you could go to contribute to your fund online. As Jesse had mentioned before, this is where you would be able to select which fund you want to give to, put in an amount, put in a note. As you continue, this is where you will get your ability to select how you want to pay. The create a transaction section gives you two options if you have more than one fund. So if you only have one fund, you will probably just have one option. It defaults to the fund that you have, and that is what is available for you. But if you have more than one fund, you have the option to make a distribution or to make a transfer between your funds. So on the recommendation page, it's pretty self-explanatory and pretty easy, which is fantastic. So it defaults to your agency. You can add in however much it's going to be, put in the frequency. The purpose is required. So it can just be annual distribution, but that is required. And if you have any other instructions you want for the FFTC staff, you can enter it in here, but that is not required. That's just optional. And then one difference is we add it to a cart, sort of like on Amazon. And so it's sitting there. The nice thing here is you can edit it if you want to. Maybe you decided that it has to be a different amount, or oops, it was supposed to be annual. There are the opportunity to edit it or to completely remove because you changed your mind. If you go back, you can then, let's show what would happen if you wanted to do an inter-fund transfer between agency 1 and agency 2. Again, the purpose is required. And you can add it to the cart. So now they're both in the cart. Now they are not submitted yet, not until you proceed to checkout, but you can decide, you know what, I only want to proceed to checkout with one. I'm going to uncheck the transfer right now. Just proceed and confirm. All the pending transactions. So this one that I just put is now coming up on your dashboard as a pending transaction. We are going to change the sort order of this as well to be the most recent by date order rather than just being alphabetical as it currently is. It will say approval pending until it's been approved by our staff. And at that point, it will say approved on, and it will give the date. Once it starts being sent for payment, the status will change to say payment in process. Once it is paid, it drops off of the pending and will now show up in your transaction history. So if you go back to the transaction history, it will eventually show up here instead. So that's just a little bit different of how we're looking at the statuses along the way of the process. For recurring distributions, we have a section here where you can see the initial request with all the details. It says it's monthly, ongoing, but you will also be able to see what is coming down the pike, which actual payments are scheduled to be paid. And sort of like, your auto ship where you can cancel an individual section. If you want to, you can cancel individual distributions along the way. And this is going to be on a rolling basis, so it only shows 12 months, and it'll just continue rolling. So you will continue to see those in the future. The next section on the left, you might not use very much. It's helpful for our staff if you know of an incoming gift, potentially a stock gift or a very large gift from somebody that you want our staff to just be on the lookout for. You can notify us on this section. Just say what fund it's going to be, the donor name, any information you know, and then just confirm it. It's just a notification. It's not actually doing anything in your system, but it lets our team know that a stock gift may be coming, and it might help us on the back end assign like which donor gave which stock. The next section is where you can look at all the fund representatives who have access to your fund. Obviously, these are test funds and they have test names in here, but you will be able to see, it will say whether it is full access, distribution only access, viewer only. So you will have access to see that here. If you need to change who has access to your fund, because I know there's turnover, there's changes, let your relationship manager know, or you can let our donor operations team know. There's a form you should fill out so that they can make the change in Razor's Edge. And then that will sync everything together. Historical statements, as we were saying, again, these are only tests, but you will have up to 4 years of your historical statements, and you will be able to sort by which fund if you like, or you can see all funds. And you can also sort between just seeing your monthly statements or seeing annual. Again, your cart, we see there's one still sitting in there, that one that we decided not to submit before. So as you probably are used to with e-commerce, there will be a little alert on the cart just to remind you that there is a distribution sitting and waiting to happen. Your profile, you will be able to edit your name, some basic, information. Again, this will send a note to our donor operations team so they can update it in Razor's Edge, because Razor's Edge is really where we need to keep all of that information. But you can submit it through this form. And then if you need to change your password, you can do so here. This would be particularly helpful if anybody asked us, for instance, if you were having trouble logging in the first time, you contact donor operations and we give you a temporary password. If you get in, you should go here to change the password so you actually have your own unique password. And that will automatically update there. So now I'll move into the middle. So this is where you will have all your funds. If you have more than 25 funds, there will be a box up top for you to be able to search for an individual fund. So you don't need to scroll through every single one to get there. So that will be useful. But if you only have a few, they will just appear on the page. There is the fund overview, which is where you will go to get ongoing statements starting now. One thing I did want to let you know regarding this landing page, and again, this is a test page. The landing page as it is just showing a snapshot on a daily basis. So it is like, this is your balance today. We are in the process of making the landing page more interesting and more useful and more appealing to have more information about your investments, as well as having like a breakdown of what is your illiquid assets versus your liquid assets and things like that. Currently, it's just a landing page, but the statements will be available on the top. And I am not sure why it's not showing the drop down. There is a drop down where you can select which month of the statement it will be. If you download it, it will pop up as a PDF. Here we go. And are you seeing, I don't even know if you can see that on the screen, and it will have all of your information on there. Okay. The transaction history is where you will see all of your distribution history. You can download it as a CSV file. You can print it as a PDF, and it is a nicely formatted report. You can also filter by dates, or doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because you are the grantee for that, but you can filter by dates and by grantee. As we had mentioned before, the pending transactions show down below. Oh, I forgot to mention the contribution history. Similar, so this is, we'll have the name, the date of everybody that has given to you. Again, you can download it as a CSV, you can filter by dates, and you can print as well. And I think those are most of the activities. Jesse, have I missed anything that your fund holders would probably be doing with the portal?
I think that is all of the different functionality pieces that are most used. So yeah, I think we can jump back to the slides there.
Okay. And as we had mentioned, if you have any trouble either getting in or just understanding how to use the portal, reach out to your relationship manager, or you can always contact our donor operations team as well.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, we have a couple questions that have come in over the presentation. So first off was about the spendable balance. I know you said that the demonstration was showing a spendable balance that's not currently available for those that are on their portal, but you did say if you kind of digged into the fund, you'd still be able to find the spendable balance. Are you able to walk us through that?
Yes, and unfortunately, this demo fund doesn't have a great statement. You will be able to find your spendable balance on that. So if you go into your fund overview and look at your most recent statement, the spendable will be there. It will also be on the fund overview page once that has been updated a bit. And I think within about a week or two, it will be on the tiles as well.
Okay, Jen, do you mind showing how to get to the transaction history again?
Yeah,
Someone just wanted to see how you got there.
yeah. Okay. So you have to do it from the dashboard. So when you're in the dashboard, there is a button, depending on whichever fund you are looking at, and you click into it there. Um, this demo fund that we are using is not set up as a true agency fund where you're giving yourself distribution. So I apologize for the fact that it's saying that it's going to all these different organizations. But this is where the transaction history is. And similarly, there's a button for the contribution history. So if you want to look at both of those things, they are on the tiles.
Thank you. Someone else was asking, will last month's statements be available on the 15th of the month ongoing?
Yes. As of now, yes.
Okay. Someone else wanted you to walk through again how you can add to a fund. And they also had a follow-up question. If you want to contribute to multiple funds, how do you do that? Or can you only contribute individually for now?
I can pop in and answer this one. If you are giving one check to be split among multiple different funds, let's continue the same process we've always done. You don't really need to notify us because that's going to come via email with the spreadsheet of the split for how those contributions are to be used. If you are using this contribution notification form, really the ideal purpose is to let us know if stock gift is being given into these funds. Of course, you can let us know about other types, but the process that you've used historically to make gifts into the fund can remain the same.
And if for some reason you were trying to contribute to your fund online and wanted it to be split, just put it in the notes to the staff section. You can explain it here. One thing to note is for split gifts, we currently know that when you're looking at your contribution history, it is not necessarily appearing exactly correctly. The funds are in the right place. Your balances are absolutely right. The way that they are showing up in the contribution history is it's showing the full gift to one of your funds and then nothing to the rest. And that is something we are aware of and are working on fixing over the next few weeks. So I feel free to reach out for confirmation, but when you do look at your balances, they are absolutely correct.
Thanks, Jen. Going back really quickly to the transaction history, someone let me know that theirs is showing something different. So to that
Okay.
person, you're asking as an anonymous attendee. So if you could just send me your name, we will make sure that that's fixed. Thank you.
And I think that's a good segue to talk about if you are an advisor for both an agency fund and a personal fund, which could be one of the reasons you're seeing that, Jen. What happens in that case?
So the way Gifting Network works is your account and what you see is based on your email address. So if you have full access and manage two different types of funds, it may behoove you to use to set up a new email address for the other one. For some people, they have a donor advised fund that's their personal main fund that they manage. So they will want to have the donor view, but they're also on the board of a nonprofit. And so they have viewer access to an agency fund. In that case, it probably is worth discussing whether you need to have two. If you only have viewer access, it probably doesn't matter all that much. But if you really truly are taking action in an agency fund and taking action in a donor advised fund, I'd highly recommend working with your relationship manager just to get a second email address that can be used for the other account.
And on that note, someone asked if their teammate who used to run, the fund through our FFTC left, how can they update their information with us?
Yeah, great question. So certainly reach out to our team, either that email that was on kind of the last slide, so support@fftc.org, or your relationship manager, and we can help get updated access. We may need, someone with the organization's signature authority, like a board chair, if all of the former representatives have left, but we can certainly talk about who has access to the account and get it cleaned up to where it needs to be.
And also on that note, there's a question. You mentioned reaching out to their relationship manager. Is there anywhere on the portal where they can see who their relationship manager is and their contact information?
Not currently, but I will add that to our list for our future roadmap.
In the meantime, you can reach out to anyone at the foundation, any email that you can find really, or our support inbox. So that donor operations team, support@fftc.org, can be a great place to start. They can introduce you to your relationship manager if you haven't had that connection yet, or they may be able to assist you directly.
Thanks. That is about it. There's someone that asked a very specific question related to their fund. I saw it, and we will get back to you right after this webinar to answer your question. But if any last questions, go ahead and send them in.
And if something comes 10 minutes at the end of this webinar, please don't hesitate to reach out. This is certainly not the last conversation. We're always happy to hop on a call or a Zoom or in person to kind of walk through it together, provide a tutorial, and answer any questions.
And we will record it, as we mentioned. So we'll edit it down to be a good size, but we will share it. So if you wanted to share it with teammates or others that need some information, you can certainly do so.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We're glad you're able to take some time to come learn about how this new system will work. Hopefully, it will be great for your improvement in utilizing the portal as we move forward. Certainly, let us know if you have feedback. I mean, questions are great too, but if there are changes you would like to see, this is not the final product. We would love to know what you think, how we can make this work better for you and your agency as well. And until we see you next time, thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.